Why silence feels uncomfortable now. Silence is one of those things you only notice when it suddenly appears. Not because it's loud, but because it isn't. A conversation ends, the music stops, notifications go quiet, the TV turns off, and in that brief gap, something shifts inside you. Silence arrives, and instead of relief, there's tension. Instead of rest, there's discomfort. It feels heavy, awkward, like an unfinished sentence, like something important is missing and needs to be fixed immediately. The instinct is automatic. You reach for your phone, you turn on background noise, you speak even if there's nothing to say. Anything to break the quiet, anything to escape the feeling. Silence doesn't feel neutral anymore. It feels wrong. This wasn't always the case. There was a time when silence was normal. As a child, long, quiet moments were part of life. Nights without constant sound, days without endless input. Being alone with your thoughts wasn't something to avoid, it was just being. Silence wasn't empty, it was space. Space where imagination wandered, emotions processed, and the mind rested without effort. Back then, silence didn't demand to be filled. It didn't create urgency. It didn't feel like a problem. It simply existed. Now, silence feels different, almost threatening. The moment it appears, alone in a car, in a quiet room, during a walk without earbuds, lying in bed before sleep, the mind reacts. Thoughts speed up. Old worries surface. Unprocessed emotions rise. The nervous system becomes alert. Silence is no longer rest, it's a void that needs to be filled as fast as possible. You feel this in everyday moments. Driving without music feels wrong, so you turn something on, even if you're not really listening. Eating alone without a video feels uncomfortable, like time is being wasted. Waiting for a bus, an appointment, a response, without scrolling feels unbearable. The phone comes out almost automatically, not out of desire, but out of reflex. Even around other people, silence has become awkward. A pause in conversation lasts a second too long, and someone rushes to fill it with small talk, jokes, or a glance at a screen. The kind of silence where two people can simply be together without words feels rare now, unnatural, almost suspicious. This isn't about personality. It's not about being introverted or extroverted. Many people who feel uncomfortable with silence are social, expressive, connected. They talk, they laugh, they engage. But the ability to sit in quiet, alone or with others, has slowly eroded. The tolerance for silence has thinned. This didn't happen by accident. The modern world is designed to eliminate silence. From the moment you wake up, sound and input rush in. Notifications, messages, feeds, alerts. Breakfast with a screen, commutes with podcasts or music, work filled with meetings, pings, and constant interruption. Breaks filled with scrolling. Even relaxation is filled with streaming, gaming, or background noise. In this environment, silence becomes rare, and anything rare feels unfamiliar. The mind adapts to constant stimulation. It learns to expect something to react to at all times. So when nothing is there, it feels like something is wrong, like a loss of control, like danger. The nervous system stays on alert, scanning for the next input. Silence feels unsafe not because it is, but because the system has forgotten how to be at rest. Over time, this training reshapes inner life. Moments that could be peaceful feel restless instead. Being alone becomes something to escape. Even sleep is delayed with scrolling or audio until the last possible second. The mind is rarely allowed to be in silence long enough to remember what silence actually feels like. People often describe this as, "I can't sit still," or "I need background noise to relax," or "silence makes me anxious." But beneath those words is a deeper truth. Silence has become uncomfortable, and discomfort is something we've been taught to avoid immediately. So the cycle continues. more noise, more input, less space, less recovery, and paradoxically, more restlessness, a kind of inner agitation that no amount of stimulation ever seems to resolve. The cost of this is quiet, but profound. Creativity needs silence, unbroken space where ideas can form without interruption. Insight needs quiet to surface. Emotions need silence to be felt fully instead of being drowned out or reacted to immediately. When silence disappears, thoughts stay shallow, feelings remain unresolved, life feels busy, full, and strangely hollow at the same time. Relationships feel the impact as well. Deep connection requires shared silence, moments where nothing needs to be said to be understood. When silence is avoided, connection stays on the surface. Words increase, but depth decreases. Even the body pays a price. A nervous system that is never allowed to fully rest remains in low-level activation. Stress becomes chronic. Fatigue becomes normal. The body adapts, but it doesn't heal. Noticing that silence feels uncomfortable is not a personal failure. It's awareness. It's the mind recognizing that its natural rhythm has been disrupted, that constant noise is not the same as peace, that something essential has been traded away. Relearning silence doesn't require drastic change. It doesn't mean rejecting technology or withdrawing from the world. It starts small, leaving the phone in another room for a few minutes, walking without earbuds, eating one meal without audio, sitting quietly before sleep without scrolling. These moments will feel uncomfortable at first. The mind will resist. It will search for stimulation. That resistance isn't a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're undoing conditioning. With repetition, something shifts. The nervous system begins to relax. Silence stops feeling like a threat. Stillness starts to feel grounding. Thoughts slow. Emotions settle. Presence returns, not as a technique, but as a natural state. Silence doesn't feel uncomfortable because something is broken inside you. It feels uncomfortable because something around you has changed. The world became louder, faster, more filled at every moment, and your mind adapted to survive in that environment. But survival is not the same as thriving. You don't need to eliminate noise completely. You only need to make noise a choice instead of a default, to allow silence to exist without punishment, to give the mind permission to rest. Those moments accumulate, they compound, they rebuild the tolerance for stillness that was trained away, and slowly, the sense that something is wrong begins to soften, not because the world changed, but because your relationship to it did. Silence feels uncomfortable until it doesn't. And when it no longer feels uncomfortable, something else begins to feel profoundly right.